Mary at the Psalm Bible chapter 12, the Kindred of Storm. The baby was a girl, born in the second month of the new year. She was her mother's daughter, born darker skinned than Joe would probably ever be. About time I had a baby to look like me, said Alice when she saw her. You could have at least tried for a redhead, said Rufus. He was there too, peering at the baby's wrinkled little face, peering with even more concern as Alice's face, sweat streaked and weary. For the first time and only time, I saw her smile at him, a real smile, no sarcasm, no residue. It silenced him for several seconds. Curry and I helped with the birth. Now we left quickly, both of us, probably thinking the same thing, that if Alice and Ruth were going to make peace, finally neither of us wanted to break their mood. They called the baby Hagar. Rufus said that was the ugliest name he had ever heard, but it was Alice's choice and he let it stand. I thought it was the most beautiful name I had ever heard. I felt almost free, half free if such a thing was possible, halfway home. I was gleeful at first, secretly elated. I even kidded Alice about the name she chose for her children, Joseph and Hagar, and the two others whose names I thought silently, Miriam and Aaron, I said. Someday Ruth is going to get religious and read enough of the Bible to wonder about those children's names. Alice shrugged. If Hagar had been a boy, I would have called her Ishmael in the Bible. People might be slaves for a while, but they didn't have to stay slaves. Ooh. Excuse me, y'all. My mood was so good I almost laughed, but she wouldn't have understood that, and I couldn't have explained. I kept it all in somehow and congratulated myself that the Bible wasn't the only place where slaves broke free. Her names was only symbolic, but I had more than symbols to remind me that freedom was possible, probably, and for me, very near, or was it? Slowly I began to calm down. The danger to my family was past. Yes, Hagar has been born, but the danger to me personally still walked and talked, and sometimes sat with Alice in her cabin in the evening as she nursed Hagar. I was there with them a couple of times, and I felt like an intruder. I was not free, not any more than Alice was, or her children with their names. In fact, it looked as though Alice might get free before I did. She caught me alone one evening and pulled me into her cabinet. It was empty except for the sleeping Hagar. Joe was out collecting cuts and bruises from sturdier children. Did you get the medicine? She demanded. I peered at her through the semi-darkness. Rufus kept her well supplied with candles, but at the moment the only light in her room came from the window and from a low fire over which two pots simmered. Alice, are you sure you still want it? I saw her frown. Sure I want it. Of course I want it. What's the matter with you? I hedged a little. It's so soon. The baby's only a few weeks old. You give me that stuff so I can leave when I want to. I got it. Give it to me. God damn it, Alice. Will you slow down? Look, you keep working on him the way you have been, and you can get whatever you want and live to enjoy it. To my surprise, her stony expression crumbled and she began to cry. He'll never let any of us go, she said. The more you give him, the more he wants. She paused, wiped her eyes, and added slowly, I got to go while I can, before I turn into just what people call me. She looked at me and did the thing that made her so much like Rufus, though. Neither of them recognized it. I got to go before I turn into what you are, she said bitterly. Server had disappointed me once and said, What you let her talk to you? What, you let her talk to you like that? Fool. She can't get away with it with anybody else. I didn't know. Guilt, maybe. In spite of everything, my life was easier than hers. Maybe I tried to make up for that by taking her abuse. Everything has its limit, though. Oh, you want my help, Alice? You watch your mouth. Watch yours, she mocked. I stared at her in astonishment, remembering, knowing exactly what she had overheard. If I talked to him the way you do, he'd have me hanging in a bomb. She said, if you go on talking to me the way you do, I won't care what he does to you. She looked at me for a long time without saying anything. Finally, she smiled. You'll care and you'll help me. Else you'll have to see yourself for the white nigga you are, and you couldn't stand that. Rufus never called my bluff. Alice did it automatically. And because I was bluffing, she got away with it. I got up and walked away from her. Behind me, I thought I heard her laugh. Some days later, I gave her what she wanted. Later that same day, Rufus began talking about sending Joe to school up north when he was a little older. Do you mean to free the boy, Ruth? He nodded. Good. Tell Alice when I get around to it. I didn't argue with him. I told her myself. It don't matter what he says, she told me. Did he show you any free papers? No. When he does and you read them to me, maybe I believe him. I'm telling you, he used those skills just the way you use a bit on a horse. I'm tired of having a bit in my mouth. I didn't blame her, but still, I didn't want her to go. Didn't want her to risk Joe and Hager. Hell, I didn't even want her to risk herself. That's where, under other circumstances, I would probably have disliked her. But here, we have a common enemy to unite us. I'll be back with chapter 13.